5 bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's roll!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a moment, we'll join Tim Collins and Rad Sampson, the head forest ranger, as they supervise the evacuation of families from the small community at the edge of the state forest preserve that's threatened by the great forest fire. A fire that has swept almost unchecked through the vast forest, leaping fire breaks Chief Cody and a host of volunteers have tried to throw up. The chief and his men have succeeded in slowing the ravaging blaze with water from their portable pumps, but it is clear to every smoke eater who battles the giant fire that it is only a question of time before it eats its way into the community of homes, destroying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property and the hopes of many a family. But as Tim and his friend direct the stricken families, a daring idea comes to the young fire rookie, an idea which, if it works, may save the homes of the people. Well, we'll learn about it right after this important message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the scene of the great forest fire where Tim and Rad Sampson, the head forest ranger, are helping the threatened families gather up their belongings and flee the fury of the oncoming fire. As Tim watches the men, women, and children hurriedly abandon the homes they took years to build, he feels a pity and an anger well up in his heart, and he wishes again for the 100th time that there was some way, something he could do to halt the destructive fire. And then suddenly a bold idea strikes him, and he says to Rad,
If it would only rain, that would douse this fire. Rad.
Yes, Tim.
I just thought of something. Why don't we make it rain?
Make it rain? Are you crazy, Tim?
No, not at all. I just remembered something I read in the local paper a while ago. A group of scientists in town were experimenting with rain-making.
Rain-making? What do you mean?
Well, they went up in an airplane and dropped particles of dry ice through rain clouds. Seeded the clouds, I think they called it, and in 2 minutes it began to rain.
Man-made rain, eh?
Yeah, the rain was in the cloud beforehand, of course, but the dry ice started falling.
Gee, do you suppose...
It would work here? I don't know. Well, I think it's worth trying.
If it would. Think of the joy it'd bring these poor people who are about to lose their homes.
That's just what I'm thinking about. Look, I'm going to see Chief Cody. It may be a crazy idea, but anything's worth trying if it'll save a whole community.
A moment later, Tim comes breathlessly up to the chief and his men who are still doggedly fighting the advancing flames. After the chief hears the young rookie's wild scheme, he says,
Well, son, it does sound far-fetched, making rain by dropping dry ice from an airplane. But if it'll work, I say let's try it.
Oh, swell, Chief Cody. We haven't much time. But if you can just keep the fire checked until I can make arrangements for the plane.
We'll do our best. Dr. Harry Curtis was one of the scientists working with that experiment, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Now get into town on the double and tell him your problem. Tell him you have my full permission to do anything that may halt this fire.
Yes, sir.
Tell him the only thing that will stop it is rain. Now get going.
I'm practically there.
In a matter of minutes, Tim is at the door of the residence of Dr. Harry Curtis, the famous scientist friend of Chief Cody.
Dr. Curtis?
Yes? Oh, Tim Collins, come in.
Thank you. Dr. Curtis, we need your help.
Yes? What's the trouble?
Well, the State Forest Preserve is afire, sir, sweeping unchecked through the whole tract.
I heard that it was over the radio. A terrible waste.
Yes, sir, but worse than the waste is the fact that the fire is headed straight for a community of houses.
Oh, that's bad. And you haven't been able to halt it, eh?
The fire department is powerless in the face of so big a blaze, sir. The wood's all dry as dust from the long, dry spell we've had.
Yes, it hasn't rained for weeks. But how'd you feel I could help you, Tim?
Well, sir, there's only one thing that will halt that fire, Chief Cody says, and that's a good soaking rain.
Rain, eh?
Yes, sir. And I remember that you were one of the scientists who experimented a while back with producing rain by dropping dry ice from an airplane.
Oh, so that's what you have in mind. Our little rain-making experiment.
Yes, sir. I thought if it would work, and soon enough, it would save all those people's homes. Now, do you think we could...
Well, Tim, that dry ice experiment did work once. Just how or why, or if it would work again, I can't say.
Oh, but do you think you could try it?
Oh. Over how wide an area is this fire burning, Tim?
Oh, maybe a mile wide?
Conditions have to be just right. There are clouds this afternoon. Dark clouds that might have rain in them.
Oh, what do you think?
I don't know whether it'll work or not, Tim, but we'll try.
Oh, that's great, Doctor. Where do we get a plane and the dry ice?
I'll call the pilot who worked with us on the last experiment, Loop Lanier.
And the dry ice?
Fortunately, my laboratory has a large enough quantity, all prepared. I'll rush down and pick it up. Meanwhile, you get out to the airport and have Lanier warm up his plane. I'll meet you there in 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes and 30 seconds later, a car rolls onto the landing field and grinds to a stop before an idling cabin plane. Dr. Harry Curtis steps out.
Well, I see you beat me, Tim. This is Tim Collins, Lanier.
Yes, we've introduced ourselves. You got the dry ice, Doc?
Yep, all granulated and ready to sow. About set to take off?
Yes. But, well, there's just one thing I'd like to mention.
What's that, Loop?
Flying over the area of the fire is liable to be a little tricky, even dangerous.
Why's that, Loop?
Well, the heat from the fire has probably created a lot of freakish currents. Air pockets, you know, it usually does.
Well, when you say dangerous, do you mean...
Well, I mean that anything can happen. For my part, I'm willing to risk it. I know how important this mission is. But I just wanted to be sure both of you understood.
Well, I'm willing to take the chance if you are, Loop. How about you, Tim?
Oh, taking risks is my job, Doctor. Let's take off.
Okay, hop in.
right.
Get aboard the Rainmaker Special.
All right.
There's the fire, Loop. Straight ahead.
Yeah, she's a mean one, all right. Hang on to your hats when we pass over it now.
Uh-oh. If I see correctly, that fire hasn't much farther to go before it reaches those houses, Tim.
Oh, good grief, you're right. It's almost onto him. I'll bet the chief and the boys are having a tough time.
Hang on, we're going to make a pass.
Oh, good gosh, this is rough.
Keep her steady, Loop.
Doing my best, Doctor.
Better get a little higher, Loop. It's important to fly directly through the clouds when we let this dry ice loose. Up another 500 feet, I'd say.
Right, I'll come around.
Better get that window open, Tim. Then we'll be ready to sow our rain seeds.
Right.
What's your elevation now, Luke?
1,500 feet, Doc.
Good. That ought to be about right.
Yeah. Looks like we're right in the cloud now, Doctor.
Yes. And we should be just about over the forest preserve.
Are you ready, Doc?
Ready. Help me with this container, Tim.
Yes, sir.
And out they go.
Hold on. We've hit a bad pocket.
Hey, look out, Doctor.
I'm all right.
There, what a downdraft.
Can you hold the loop?
Yes, I got it, I think. Yeah, we're through it. Wow. I thought we were headed for terra firma that time.
Yes. That did give us a bad jolt. But we got the dry ice out.
Well, that's good.
Now, let's get above this cloud and see if our little experiment's going to work.
Ah, now we're out of it. And there's our rain cloud below.
And look, Doctor, there's our rain.
He's right, Doc. Look, it's just beginning. A solid sheet of water slicing out of that cloud.
Yep, it's rain, all right. A regular cloud burst.
It worked. We made rain.
And from the looks of it, she's right over the forest preserve.
Oh, boy, will the chief love this. And all those people whose homes are saved. I'll bet Chief Cody's down there shouting for joy.
Yeah. Good old Tim. It worked. Rain. Wonderful fire-quenching rain. All right, knock off, men. She's licked. Rain. Beautiful rain.
yes, the rain came and saved a community from destruction. Whether it would have rained without seeding the rain cloud with dry ice, or whether Dr. Curtis's experiment actually did the trick, even Dr. Curtis isn't prepared to say. But whether nature or man was responsible for the rain that put out the forest fire, it was a blessing Chief Cody and his men will never forget. Well, the Chief's and Tim's next adventure is another real thriller, I can promise you. Jimmy and Trudy Collins are right in the middle of it, too. In fact, if it weren't for them, a grave tragedy would have stricken their neighborhood. You'll learn all about it in the next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Chief Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own town. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now, here's Chief Bob Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. Like to fly kites? Sure you do. Every red-blooded American boy or girl likes to get up on a hill on a windy day and let a kite pay out till it's just a speck way up in the sky. Here's a word of caution, though, about flying kites. Number one, don't use metal string for your kite. A bolt of lightning could strike your kite and travel right down to you, and the shock would be something awful. Number two, if your kite should get tangled on an electric line, just leave it there. Don't try to rescue it, or else you're liable to get another bad shock. Have fun with kites, but just observe these two simple rules. Well, that's all for now. Till I drop in the next time, so long.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's go! Let's go!
Firefighters is a copyrighted feature of William F. Holland Productions.